Welcome to this English learning session. Today, we will learn British English through an engaging and entertaining story. Storytelling is one of the most effective ways to improve your listening and speaking skills because it makes learning natural and enjoyable. In this intermediate level story, you will meet an aspiring actress who is chasing her dreams in the UK. As you follow her journey, you will learn useful British English vocabulary and phrases connected to the world of acting, auditions, and theater. This will help you understand conversations on similar topics and expand your vocabulary. The story is narrated in a clear British accent and comes with subtitles, which makes it easier for you to follow along and improve your pronunciation. Reading along with the subtitles helps you recognize the correct pronunciation and rhythm of British English. By practicing with stories like this, you can build confidence in your listening skills and speaking ability. It also gives you a chance to learn natural expressions and how to use them in real life. Remember, consistent practice is the key to becoming fluent. Use stories to regularly enhance your vocabulary, listening comprehension, and overall English fluency. Enjoy the story and happy learning. Storytelling is a powerful tool for learning any language, and when it comes to British English, it offers a particularly engaging and effective way to boost both listening and speaking skills. Imagine sitting down to hear a story unfold where every word is carefully chosen, every phrase crafted to paint a picture in your mind. This is not just about passive listening, it's about immersing yourself in a living, breathing conversation that helps you naturally absorb the sounds, rhythms, and intonations of British English. When you listen to a story, your brain connects words and phrases with emotions, actions, and scenes, making it easier to remember and use them later. What makes storytelling so effective is its ability to captivate your attention. Unlike isolated vocabulary lists or grammar exercises, stories have characters, plots, and settings that draw you in. This engagement is key to language learning because when you care about what you're listening to, your mind stays alert and absorbs much more. For example, in a story about an actress pursuing her dreams, you don't just hear the word audition or rejection. You feel the excitement and tension that comes with those moments. This emotional connection makes the vocabulary more memorable and helps you understand how these words fit naturally into real conversations. Another great benefit is that stories often use everyday language and common expressions, which are exactly what you need to sound natural when speaking. Listening to native speakers tell a story exposes you to the flow and melody of British English, the way sentences rise and fall, how questions and statements differ in tone, and the subtle pauses that give the language its unique character. This helps you develop an ear for the accent and improves your ability to mimic it when you speak. It's like having a conversation with a friend where you pick up not only words but also the cultural nuances behind them. Storytelling also encourages active learning. When you listen with subtitles or follow along with the text, you are simultaneously engaging your visual and auditory senses. This dual input strengthens your comprehension and helps you link spoken words to their written forms. Over time, this improves your reading skills as well as your listening. And when you practice speaking by repeating lines from the story, you gain confidence in your pronunciation and intonation. This practice is especially valuable at the intermediate level because it bridges the gap between basic understanding and fluent expression. Furthermore, stories often introduce you to new vocabulary in a meaningful context, rather than just a list of words. For example, words related to acting and theater like monologue, workshop, or application become part of the narrative rather than isolated terms to memorize. This contextual learning helps you grasp the different shades of meaning and how these words are used naturally. You start to understand not just the dictionary definitions, but also how to use them appropriately in conversation. The immersive nature of storytelling also means that you're more likely to retain what you learn. Stories stick in your memory because they engage multiple parts of your brain. When you follow a character's journey, visualize scenes, and hear the dialogue, you create mental hooks that help you recall language later. This makes stories a long, lasting resource for your learning, far beyond a quick vocabulary drill. Lastly, storytelling is enjoyable, and that enjoyment keeps you motivated. Learning a language can sometimes feel like a chore, but when you combine it with a good story, it becomes an adventure. You look forward to the next chapter or episode, eager to find out what happens and what new words or phrases you'll encounter. This positive experience encourages regular practice, which is crucial for progress. So, through storytelling, you are not only improving your listening skills, but also enhancing your speaking ability, vocabulary, pronunciation, and cultural understanding, all in a way that feels natural and fun. It's a comprehensive learning method that builds confidence and prepares you to use British English effectively in real life. Stories connect us, especially when they feel real and relatable. In this story, we follow the journey of a young woman who dreams of becoming a professional actress in the UK. It's not just any story, but one that speaks to many learners because it's about chasing a goal, facing challenges, and believing in oneself, themes that everyone can understand. The story is crafted at an intermediate level, making it perfect for English learners who have a basic foundation, but want to stretch their skills and gain confidence in more complex conversations. What makes this story especially engaging is how it captures everyday moments in the life of someone pursuing their passion. You don't have to be an actor or live in the UK to relate. The feelings of hope, excitement, and even disappointment are universal. When you listen to the story, you experience these emotions alongside the character, which makes the learning process much more meaningful and memorable. You start to connect words and phrases not just to definitions, but to real life situations and feelings. The setting of the story in the UK is important too. British English has unique accents, expressions, and cultural references that can be quite different from other English varieties. By following the story, you get a glimpse into British life, especially the world of theater and acting there. This helps you not only improve your language skills, but also gain cultural understanding, which is essential when learning a language. It's like getting a window into a different world, and through that window, you hear the authentic sounds and rhythms of British English. One of the key strengths of the story is its vocabulary. Because it focuses on acting and theater, you'll come across words like audition, monologue, and recall, which are essential if you want to talk about performing arts. But beyond that, the story also uses phrases that help you express ambitions and setbacks, such as pursue a goal, to be insulted, or to stand out from the crowd. These phrases are useful in many situations, not just acting, so you can apply what you learn here to everyday conversations. The story's progression mirrors real life. It shows moments of success and moments of rejection. This balance keeps the narrative honest and encouraging. It teaches learners that setbacks are part of any journey and that perseverance matters. This lesson is just as valuable as the language itself because it motivates learners to keep practicing and improving, even when progress feels slow. Listening to this intermediate level story also helps you improve your comprehension skills. The sentences are carefully structured to challenge you, but not overwhelm you. You'll notice how the dialogue sounds natural, how questions and answers flow, and how emotions change the way people speak. These subtle cues are crucial for understanding spoken English in real situations, and stories like this give you the chance to practice recognizing them. Another benefit of following a character's journey is that it encourages empathy. When you care about what happens to someone, you pay closer attention. This heightened focus helps you learn faster and remember better. You start noticing how words and expressions fit into the context, which makes it easier to recall them when you speak or write. By engaging with this story, you are not only practicing your listening, but also expanding your vocabulary and gaining cultural insights. It's a rich learning experience that goes beyond grammar rules or textbook exercises. Instead, it brings English to life through a meaningful narrative that encourages you to think, feel, and speak in British English. So, as you listen and read along with the story of this aspiring actress, think about your own goals and dreams. Let the story inspire you to keep learning and growing. This is not just a lesson in English. It's a step toward realizing your own ambitions. When you're learning a new language, vocabulary is the foundation that allows you to express ideas clearly and confidently. In this story, we're focusing on British English words and phrases connected to the world of acting, auditions, and theater, a fascinating area full of unique terms that you might not encounter every day in typical lessons. These words bring the story to life and help you understand how language works in specific contexts, especially within the creative and performing arts industry in the UK. Take the word audition, for example. It's a common term, but it carries so much meaning when you're following someone's journey in acting. An audition is the moment where an actor tries out for a role, hoping to impress the director or casting team. Understanding this word means you can talk about the process actors go through and even describe your own experiences if you ever attend an audition. Closely linked to this is monologue, which refers to a speech performed by a single actor. It's a crucial part of auditions because it allows actors to showcase their skills and emotions. By learning these terms, you're not just memorizing words, you're gaining insight into the culture and routines of the theater world. Another important word is recall. In the context of acting, a recall happens when actors who did well in an initial audition are asked to come back for a second audition or an additional round. This term helps you understand the competitive nature of the acting profession and adds depth to the story you're listening to. You might hear about rejection, too, which is a tough but realistic part of any career in the arts. Rejection means not being chosen for a role, and hearing this word in a story shows the resilience required to keep pursuing a dream despite setbacks. The phrase extra work is also useful. It refers to roles that are usually non-speaking or background parts in films and theater, often called extras. Knowing this helps you talk about different kinds of acting jobs and the stepping stones many actors take before landing bigger roles. You'll also come across the word application, which means submitting your details or a form to be considered for a role or workshop. This word is practical and appears in many areas beyond acting, so it's valuable to learn. When you hear phrases like pursue a goal or to have aspirations, they express ambition and determination, qualities that the story's main character embodies. These expressions are great for everyday conversation because everyone has goals or dreams they want to chase, whether in career, education, or personal life. Similarly, phrases like to be insulted or to stand out from the crowd teach you how to describe emotions and social situations effectively. To be insulted means to feel offended, while standing out from the crowd means being different or noticeable in a positive way. These phrases help you convey complex feelings and social dynamics clearly. Finally, to get to the final round is a phrase that highlights progress and success in competitions or selection processes. It's encouraging to hear, and using it yourself can make your English sound more natural and fluent. All these vocabulary words and phrases, when used together in the story, give you a well-rounded understanding of the acting world and how to talk about ambitions, challenges, and achievements in British English. By learning this vocabulary within a story, you're also seeing how these words fit naturally into sentences and conversations. It's one thing to know the meaning of a word, but it's another to understand how to use it correctly with the right tone and context. Stories provide that context, showing you how native speakers use these terms in real situations. This helps you not only remember the words, but also gain confidence in using them yourself. As you listen and read along with the story, pay close attention to these key terms. Try to repeat them aloud. Think about their meanings and imagine how you might use them in your own conversations. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to include them naturally in your English. This targeted vocabulary learning is an essential step towards speaking with fluency and accuracy. One of the most valuable parts of learning English, especially British English, is getting familiar with authentic accents. Listening to native speakers not only improves your ability to understand what's being said, but it also helps you grasp the natural flow, rhythm, and intonation of the language. When you practice with an authentic British English accent, you're exposing yourself to the real sounds and speech patterns used in everyday conversation. This is far more effective than simply learning words or grammar rules in isolation, because language is alive. It's about how people actually speak, not just how it looks on paper. Hearing a British accent regularly helps your ear adjust to the specific pronunciation of vowels and consonants that are unique to the UK. For example, some words are pronounced differently than in American English or other varieties you might be familiar with. When you listen to stories spoken by native British voices, you learn these subtle differences naturally. You start to recognize common sounds like the soft T in words like water or the clipped R at the end of some words, which are key features of many British accents. This makes it easier for you to understand conversations, whether in films, TV shows, or real life interactions with people from the UK. Using subtitles alongside an authentic British accent adds an extra layer of support. When you read the words while listening, you're engaging two senses at once, your eyes and your ears. This dual engagement boosts your comprehension because you see exactly what is being said, while hearing the correct pronunciation and intonation. Subtitles act like a guide, helping you catch every word, even if it's spoken quickly or includes slang or idiomatic expressions. Over time, this improves your ability to follow spoken English without needing to rely on subtitles, building your listening confidence. Subtitles also help you learn spelling and sentence structure in context. You're not just memorizing vocabulary randomly, you're seeing how words fit together in phrases and sentences. This connection between sound and text helps reinforce your understanding and makes it easier to remember new words. Additionally, subtitles give you a chance to notice punctuation and grammar in action. which can improve your reading and writing skills alongside your listening. Practicing with authentic accents and subtitles also prepares you for real-world situations. When you watch or listen to English spoken naturally, you encounter the kind of expressions, slang, and cultural references that textbooks often leave out. This helps you become more comfortable with informal speech and different styles of communication. You'll learn how people greet each other, how emotions are expressed, and how to respond naturally. This cultural insight is just as important as grammar or vocabulary because it helps you fit into conversations and feel confident in social settings. Moreover, consistent exposure to authentic accents helps with pronunciation when it's your turn to speak. By mimicking what you hear, you can practice the correct sounds and intonation patterns. This is essential for sounding natural and being easily understood by native speakers. When you use subtitles, you can follow along carefully, repeat phrases, and compare your pronunciation to the speakers. This kind of practice builds your speaking skills and boosts your confidence. Another important benefit is that practicing with stories in authentic British accents makes learning enjoyable. It's more motivating to listen to a story that's interesting and well told than to drill vocabulary lists or grammar exercises alone. Enjoyment keeps you coming back, and regular practice is the key to steady progress. When you combine engaging content with authentic accents and subtitles, you create an effective learning environment that supports all your language goals. So, by using stories narrated in true British English and following along with subtitles, you give yourself the best chance to improve your listening, reading, and speaking skills all at once. This method is practical, immersive, and enjoyable, the perfect combination for mastering British English. Building confidence in a new language is one of the most important steps on your learning journey, and reading along while practicing pronunciation with stories is a fantastic way to do that. When you hear a story and simultaneously see the words on the screen, it creates a powerful connection between sound and text. This connection helps you understand exactly how words should be pronounced, how sentences flow, and how natural speech patterns sound in British English. Reading along isn't just about following the story. It's an active way to engage with the language that boosts your confidence little by little every time you practice. Many learners feel nervous or unsure when speaking English, especially if they don't have many opportunities to practice with native speakers. But stories give you a safe space to practice aloud at your own pace without pressure. You can pause the video, repeat sentences, and listen again to make sure you're getting the pronunciation right. This repetition is key because it allows your mouth and tongue to get used to new sounds and rhythms that might feel unfamiliar at first. Over time, this practice helps reduce hesitation and makes speaking English feel more natural. Another benefit of reading along is that it helps you become more familiar with the structure of the language. When you see how words are grouped together into phrases and sentences, it becomes easier to predict what comes next when you're listening. This anticipation builds your comprehension skills and gives you a sense of mastery over the language. The more you read and speak along, the more comfortable you become with common patterns and expressions in British English. That comfort directly translates into increased confidence when you have real conversations. Practicing pronunciation with stories also helps you develop your own unique voice in English. Every learner has their own style, and by listening carefully and repeating, you can gradually adopt the sounds and intonation patterns that make your speech clear and engaging. You don't have to aim for perfection or lose your own accent. The goal is to be understood and to sound natural. Reading aloud and practicing with subtitles provides immediate feedback because you can hear yourself and compare it to the native speaker. This feedback loop is invaluable because it allows you to self-correct and improve continuously. It's also worth mentioning that confidence comes from feeling prepared. When you practice with stories regularly, you build a mental bank of vocabulary and phrases that you recognize and feel comfortable using. This familiarity reduces anxiety about finding the right words during conversations. You already know them because you've heard and spoken them in the story. This sense of preparedness encourages you to speak more often and take more risks, which are essential for fluency. Stories often include emotions, expressions, and situations that mirror real life, which makes practicing pronunciation even more meaningful. When you read lines that express excitement, disappointment, or determination, you learn how to use your voice to convey those feelings in English. This emotional connection makes your speech more lively and engaging, and it helps listeners understand you better. It's a powerful way to bring your English to life. Additionally, reading along with stories creates a routine that fits easily into your daily life. You don't need special equipment or a classroom. You can listen and read anytime, anywhere. This flexibility means you can practice regularly, which is the best way to build lasting confidence. Even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference over time. Remember, everyone starts somewhere, and confidence doesn't appear overnight. It grows gradually through consistent practice and positive experiences. Stories provide an encouraging and enjoyable environment where you can make mistakes, learn, and improve at your own pace. With each session, you become a little more confident and a little more fluent. When it comes to learning English, stories are one of the most enjoyable and effective ways to improve your vocabulary, listening comprehension, and overall fluency. But to really get the most out of them, it helps to have a few simple tips that can guide your practice and make your learning experience even better. Listening to and reading stories is more than just a passive activity with the right approach. It becomes an active and dynamic way to strengthen your language skills. First, take your time with the story. It's tempting to rush through, especially when you want to understand everything immediately. But language learning is a process that requires patience. Listen to a section of the story slowly and carefully. If you don't understand something, don't worry. Use the subtitles or transcript to help you catch every word. Reading along with the audio not only helps with vocabulary, but also teaches you how words are pronounced and used in context. This repetition is essential because hearing and seeing words multiple times makes them stick better in your memory. Another helpful tip is to focus on new vocabulary as you go. When you hear a word or phrase that's unfamiliar, pause and think about its meaning. Write it down in a notebook or on your phone so you can review it later. Try to understand how it's used in the story. Is it a verb, a noun, or maybe an expression? When you revisit these words, try using them in your own sentences. This active use turns passive vocabulary into active language you can recall during conversations or writing. Learning vocabulary this way makes it more relevant and easier to remember. Don't hesitate to listen to the same story multiple times. Each time you listen, you'll notice new details you missed before. This repetition helps improve your listening comprehension because you're training your ear to pick up on sounds, intonation, and natural speech patterns. As your comprehension improves, you'll find it easier to follow faster speech and more complex ideas. Listening several times also builds confidence because you become familiar with the story and the language used, reducing the chance of feeling overwhelmed. Try to practice speaking along with the story as well. This technique, often called shadowing, means you repeat what the narrator says almost simultaneously. It's a powerful way to improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and fluency. You don't have to worry about being perfect. The goal is to get comfortable with the flow of British English and to build your speaking muscles. Over time, shadowing will help your speech sound more natural and confident. Another great strategy is to summarize the story in your own words after you listen. This can be done by speaking or writing. When you retell the story, you practice using the vocabulary and sentence structures you've learned. It also helps reinforce comprehension because you need to understand the story well enough to explain it. Sharing summaries with friends, teachers, or language partners can further improve your communication skills and boost your confidence. Immersing yourself in stories also offers a window into British culture and expressions, which are just as important as grammar and vocabulary. Pay attention to idioms, slang, and cultural references that appear in the story. When you understand these, you gain insight into how people think and communicate in real life. This cultural knowledge makes your English richer and helps you connect better with native speakers. Lastly, make your story practice a regular habit. Even short daily sessions are better than long, infrequent ones. Consistency helps turn learning into a routine, and routines make progress more reliable. You can listen to a story while commuting, cooking, or before going to bed. The more you expose yourself to English through stories, the faster your vocabulary grows, your listening sharpens, and your fluency improves. Thank you so much for joining me today on this journey to improve your British English through storytelling. Remember, stories are not just entertaining. They are a powerful way to build your listening and speaking skills while expanding your vocabulary in a meaningful context. Following the story of an aspiring actress gives you a chance to connect with real emotions and everyday situations, making your learning experience both relatable and practical. Don't forget the importance of practicing with authentic British accents and subtitles. These tools will sharpen your ear and help you sound more natural. Reading along and practicing pronunciation will boost your confidence, so keep speaking out loud and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every word you speak brings you closer to fluency. Use the tips we talked about to make storytelling a regular part of your English learning. Take your time, focus on new vocabulary, listen repeatedly, and try to shadow the narration. Summarize what you hear in your own words and enjoy discovering the cultural richness behind the language. Keep practicing, stay curious, and most importantly, enjoy the process of learning. Your English will improve more every day, and soon you'll find yourself speaking and understanding British English with ease and confidence. I look forward to sharing